What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. I really do hope you guys are well. As you'll know, for many of you that watch this channel, I check in every now and again and kind of give you an insight into the things that I'm enjoying in Lord of the Rings Online or experiencing for probably the first time or the very first few times. This video is no different, and this video topic is going to be specifically about instances. Now, I'm not referring to the odd few instances that you do throughout the main story or the epic book quests or some of the low level instances. What I'm referring to is specifically like on the legendary servers when you get to level cap, when you get to, in this case, level 50. I was hanging out on the Mordor server after making a video the other day, and I was looking through some of the world chat and the looking for fellowship requests, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to answer some of these because there's loads of content that I still haven't done. I mean, I'm only now a year into the game. I don't make out that I know everything, but if I'm going to try this, and I ended up getting into a group of, I believe it was 6 of us, for Sark Vaughan. Now, I'd never done this. I had no expectations as to what I was going into, and man, did I have a blast. It was just unreal. And it sounds crazy, right? Because you have access to this content, I believe, by unlocking it through leveling up. And some of the instances, you've actually got to go and discover the instance by going through the portal. But the process of getting everyone together, and when we actually joined the Fellowship, one of the Fellowship leaders actually decided to summon us through the mustering horn, which is the first time I'd ever used it. And I was like, oh my god. It took a while, don't get me wrong, it takes a while for you to transport, but it's so cool seeing everyone just rally together at this one location, and then you're all just at the front of this instance, and it's so fucking sick because all I've ever experienced really before is just being teleported to an instance. So now, it's almost like meeting all of your buddies there, and you're like, cool, everyone's eating food and preparing and chatting and talking tactics, and mate, it threw me back to the first time years ago when I stumbled across World of Warcraft Classic. I didn't play it much, but it really reminded me of that real old school feel in MMOs, and it's got so much magic to it. What I really loved is that a couple of the guys that I was playing with had some in real life stuff going on, so we were sort of waiting a little bit, and do you know what? No one was really arsey or that bothered at all. People were like, I'm going to grab a coffee, I'm going to go and do this, and I was like, cool, do you mind if I do this? And everyone was totally chill, and we ended up entering the instance after a short while. And with Sark Vaughan, you enter into some sort of steps, and it leads down into this kind of watery, kind of reedy, temple kind of theme, and there's loads of undead, there's some demented sort of fucked up trees, and you fight through them. And some of these enemies, depending on, I think we scaled the difficulty up and down a couple of times, and some of these enemies are actually quite difficult. And then we got to the first boss, and we were like, oh my god, it's just one of these standard bog walkers or whatever they're called. I probably absolutely murdered it. And then you realise that loads of worms spawn at the same time, and if you kill all the worms in one location, they create acid boxes on the floor. And I was I reckon we got murdered 3 or 4 times until we eventually cracked it, and then something clicked, and it was no one ran to the internet. Do you know what I mean? I know this is a very, very simple thing to overcome with this boss, but no one ran to the internet and was right, what can we do to overcome this? What do we need to do? We just stuck through it. Everyone was cool. We were has everyone got enough time to just keep running this? People were yeah, no worries. And we just literally smashed it. And I love that. I love the fact that we were all typing in the chat oh, this is sick, can't wait. And then no one really knew, because no one had really done this instance. I think a lot of these guys were fairly new or newish. And we were kind of working out who's healing, who's tanking, should we do more damage? And it was really, really cool to see. I hadn't actually managed to clip this, but I believe it's for the second boss. There's a woman who summons a dog, and she does crazy, crazy DPS. We basically all died. There was 5 of us that wiped, and our tank, the Beorning, was the last one left. And I shit you not, from 50% HP, this Beorning was just chipping and chipping and chipping away at this boss. And I literally typed in the Fellowship chat, I was like, I will PayPal you £5 Great British pounds if you manage to kill this boss. And I shit you not, he did it. And I stood on my word. I was like, look, send me your PayPal details, I'll send you a voucher. Never heard from him, I promise I'm not a sellout. But that was really cool to see. Everyone was oh wow, really well done. Everyone was gassing each other up, and I absolutely loved that. Once we kind of thought that we'd overcome some of the worst parts of this particular instance, we then got to the Grey Fear. Now, for those of you out there watching this, you guys are probably familiar with what the Grey Fear is. And to me, little old me and the fellowship that I was in, we had no idea. Like, we were just dying and dying and dying. We were getting, like, despaired and feared. We were getting absolutely nuked with red boxes. We were getting, like, splash damage and, like impact. We were just basically, we were just getting annihilated. And then, I think one of the guys in the group casted a Dispel Corruption spell, just by accident. And I noticed one of the boss's attributes moved backwards on the panel, and then I highlighted over it and I was like, oh, he's got like this veil, right? So the idea is this veil, it basically reflects damage cast upon the enemy. And the idea is that you have to keep casting this Dispel Corruption, otherwise your party will just wipe due to damage. And once we nailed that down, it was like wicked. Like, we know what we're doing now. So anyway, it took us probably it probably took us 3 or 4 attempts to even get to that point. Then the clouds started appearing, right? These clouds like appear around the arena, and you have to destroy them, or else I'm going to assume it powers up the boss or does some sort of AoE or something. So we do all that. We keep chipping the Grey Fear down. We're doing really, really well. And then we're like, oh my god, like, we can't damage him anymore. Like, what's going on? Anyway, he goes into like the second phase, and like people were typing in the chat were like, oh my god, he goes into this second, like, it's crazy second phase. I don't know if I've recorded it. If I have, then obviously it'll be on the screen, but we got destroyed. Like, I'm not even going to beat around the bush. We got absolutely annihilated. Like, we'd already been in this instance for probably about 2 hours at this point. I think everyone was getting a little bit tired, but I was so happy to see like where we got to, and I was so proud of everyone, because even though this is the thing with Lord of the Rings Online, right? Even though I joined with complete randoms, people that I just had no idea who they were, we ended up almost forming a friendship by the end of it, because it was just so, like, we'd been through so much. We kind of felt like a family that had like fought through like turmoil and stuff. So even though we didn't manage to complete the instance, I still felt so accomplished, and that's just one of them. Like, there's so many that I can't wait to try. But I just wanted to like make this video to kind of, I guess, document sort of like where I'm at and what I'm doing. And, you know, I feel like everyone in this game is so accustomed to sort of hyper endgame stuff, and I feel like if you share anything in this space remotely related to Lord of the Rings Online, and it's not like high end or like end game, and it's not, you know, like, people are like, well, you know, you should do this, you should do this, and I like to kind of explain to you guys from my point of view, as a newish but not totally new kind of player, this is what I'm experiencing, and this is what I would do. Whether it's right or not, I don't know, but I really enjoy it. I like sitting down and just chatting to you guys, so hopefully this is kind of giving you a bit of an insight as to what can be achieved out of an instance and what you can enjoy or look forward to. So if you do enjoy this sort of content, do leave a like, subscribe, and let me know down below what are your really sort of best thoughts and best moments when it comes to forming parties or going through instances. What sort of content has challenged you the most? That'd be really cool to hear.